Welcome to another video on Coindepo. Today we're going to talk about my first 6 months in Coindepo, what the current state is, what I like, what I don't like, and so forth and so on. Let's start with the current state. When I initially joined Coindepo, I planned an allocation of roughly 25% of my total crypto investments, to put it in here. We released the Q3 report, which significantly increased my faith in the project, as the transparency was very good and I could see where the income was coming from. So I'm upping my planned allocation to 30%. Never put everything on one place. I also, after that, applied as an ambassador, but showing basically I would like to represent Coindepo in my area. Of course, I was rejected because my social media following is way too small. I already expected it, but I wanted to give it a try anyway. So what I'm going to talk about, it's a bit of a complex thing because most of these topics are interacting a bit, so I hope it will be structured enough. But what we'll be covering is basically my interaction with the support, my overall feeling and my overall experience with the communication, the team, technical issues, the Coindepo token, the transparency, the yields of sustainability, and what's coming for 26, and my own resume. Okay, let's start directly with support. I had a few interactions with support and we normally spend around 24 to 48 hours with reply time. Sometimes it's basically just saying, okay, we received your stuff and we are forwarding it, but we are very responsive and you go get your answers in a timely manner. Of course, you need to be aware on the weekends we are of course slower, but during the week and office hours, it's quite fast. I'm very happy with the overall support reply times. And most of the time you also get good feedback. Sometimes I have not gotten what I wanted, especially when I made feature requests, which I think would have helped, but anyway, we saw it differently. But overall, if you have a problem, it gets addressed in a very timely manner. So let's move from the support to the general communication. So this is basically how the company is communicating via the different channels, how communication is planned and executed. And I gotta say, first of all, it improved a lot, but there was also a lot of room for improvement. And well, initially we had too little communication, and sometimes after the fact, like where we did something or we planned to do something, and for example, we had a downtime and we only communicated after the downtime happened. Or in the last minute, that's, for example, we'll go into that later on as well, the initial release of the Coindepo token, which was postponed 1 week, and we had basically communicated this only on the day when it was initially scheduled, and I highly doubt that they were just aware at that day that it's going to be rescheduled later. And the actual website has room to improvement regarding communication. So this is again, they have a very active Telegram group and you can ask questions there and get answers. But sometimes the most important things are just communicated after somebody asks them, are not written down anywhere. For example, before the Q3 report came out, what are the income sources? So it was asked and it was answered in a satisfying manner, but it was not written anywhere else. You need to go through the chat and see, oh, okay, this is how Coindepo actually makes its money. And I don't understand why. This is just, but it's gotten better, as I said, especially with the Q3 report from the transparency topic we will touch in a minute. And the other thing, of course, are, for example, the yield. How sustainable is that? And there was also a very interesting point taken, basically saying currently it's a bit higher than due to the investors also paying basically something out of their pocket to improve market share, which are perfectly fine. It's a valid strategy to get market share. And so I knew that a rate cut is coming in the long run, which made me very comfortable with this information because I had in the scene that we have a long-term plan and moving into a healthy ecosystem, which is great, but it was again just one question, an answer, and then it's gone into the Telegram chat. Social media is now also more consistent, but still lacking. In the beginning, most of the stuff was only communicated via Telegram, although we also have an X account and a Discord channel, and Discord is still too little maintained. There's still a lot of, well, we don't moderate it enough. There's so many scam messages. I mean, they get deleted, but there's so much still going on that needs to be moderated. We're planning to increase their communication skills. This is basically one of the targets of the new team, which we will basically talk about now. So basically, they had a growth-focused CEO, and this is coming back to the communication area. Ditch stepped down, basically without further ado. So basically, bam, he's gone. Or he left a message that he will be stepping down, and we had no new CEO, which was weird. So basically you didn't know who was responsible. I mean, it was probably a transitioning phase, but if you announce that your CEO is stepping down and this is a planned change of leadership, then you should already have the next person in place, at least in my opinion. Maybe they saw it differently, or maybe it was not as planned as it should look like. I don't know. And yeah, as I said, we stepped down and you have no idea who was responsible. You know the CFO was still there, or the CTO, I don't know. And we now have a new CEO and a board of advisors, I don't know why I wrote ambassadors here, which have already a good track record with in the crypto space, build stuff in the crypto space. And you can see clearly the target is now building trust and improving communications and everything outside probably of the actual growth of user base and assets under management, because that has grown significantly and in a good pace, I think. So let's go to the not so great stuff, the technical issues. So in the beginning, the email login issues were quite frequent. I mean with that you for some reason did not receive the email token that you needed to log in. Apparently they had problems with their email providers. I have not experienced that one in a long time, so this seems to be resolved or at least communicated. I saw on Telegram recently that we had with Gmail providers, I think, an issue. And I'm not a Gmail email address, so it didn't affect me, but it was clearly communicated that it's a known issue we're working on and was resolved in a timely manner again. So I think that was fine. The other thing is the stuck interest that happened frequently. And this, what I mean with that is basically if you have a daily interest account, you normally see on your transaction page each day around 2 p.m. UTC that you got your interest payment. And there were instances where it did not appear for the day. It appeared later on or the next day, but it was definitely only always visually. You had the coins, you had your interest paid, so it was not gone. It was just basically the front end was not updated correctly. And we're aware, and we're currently in the process of reworking the whole structure according to what we wrote in Telegram. So we assume this will be resolved completely by the end of February, because we are doing a lot of internal reworking. So the good thing is we are aware and we agree that it's an issue, and we're actively working to resolve that. The website was not available once, actually, with today. Twice. You could not log in. The first time it was a planned downtime which was not communicated, and today it was an SSL error, which is absolutely not what you're going to see with a company that has over 200 million under assets, because this is such a beginner mistake to not have some automatization and renewing your SSL certificates. And overall, they do not seem to have some hot failover in place or whatever. So this is something we need to definitely work on, because again, this does not inspire confidence, especially in the crypto space, where you have a lot of websites just suddenly disappearing. And yeah, you need to build confidence, and not working websites, and I mean with that, people not having access to their crypto, is not inspiring confidence. But anyway, we seem to be making improvements, but today was definitely a setback again in that front. But yeah, let's see. I hope we learned from that, and this will be something that is addressed. I mean, it's not that hard to install something like a certbot or anything, not getting too technically, but they definitely didn't do their homework in this area. Coindepo Token. So they launched their own token, so the Coindepo Token, together with the Coindepo Token Advantage program, where you basically get higher interest rates if you have a proportion of your balance as Coindepo token. Here we come back to the bad communication, because I think it was scheduled to be released on a Monday on 2 exchanges or 1, and at a certain time, and even 1 hour after the scheduled release, nothing was there, and the days before it was not announced on this exchange. This exchange normally has a site where we see, okay, the next listings on the next couple of days, and Coindepo token was not there at all. And then suddenly we said on the day where it actually should have gone live, it has been postponed by 1 week. Okay, can happen. I don't know what happened internally, but the exchange itself already probably knew for a couple of days that it's not going to be released on that day, otherwise we would have probably listed it. So again, bad communication, or late communication, let's say. People were kept in the dark way too long that it's going to be postponed. I mean, it was just a week or 2. It didn't hurt, but it still fit the picture of their communication not being the best. You now have good availability, meaning we also have it now available on, I think, 6 different exchanges or 5. So you can definitely buy it on different places if you want to. It also has a somewhat stable price. We tried to release it, or it was announced that it should be 10 cents when it released. We're currently around 7 cents, but it's being stable there, and honestly it's nothing you would want to trade. It's something you buy to get the benefits of the Coindepo Token Advantage program, at least in my opinion. That's the only reason why I have that, and I personally paid a bit less as I was in the pre-sale, but I wouldn't use it for trading because it's super illiquid, because nobody outside of Coindepo users probably is trading this coin or buying or selling. But for the token advantage program, it's very good. You can get up to 3% more interest, and you can reduce your borrow cost by up to 3% depending on the amount of token you hold. As well as the actual tokenomics on paper looks very good, as they have a max amount available and a burning schedule, meaning the available tokens will be slowly but surely being reduced. The goal is in the end to have 50% of the current supply. So we're going to burn each quarter, and we want to continue burning until we have burned 50% of the available tokens. And the burn will be happening based on a specific amount that we earned on the last quarter. So the first burn should be happening end of January or beginning of February. I don't know exactly when, and we will see how much this is actually burning. I have no clue, but I would not expect the first burn to be too much, but it will be definitely interesting to see how the supply is reduced. In any crypto project, especially ones with a little bit higher RPRs, you are always questioning yourself, is this a valid project, or is this the next Ponzi scheme, rug pull, or whatever? So transparency is a huge factor. In the beginning, as I said, some questions were only answered in the Telegram group, and they were very good answered and with a lot of information, but it was not written down anywhere for the next person to see if you're not present at the Telegram chat at that point in time. But we promised a Q3 transparency report at the end of the year 2025, and we absolutely delivered. It had a lot of more information than I would have expected, and you can see and look it up yourself. You can go in the website on the blog, and there you find basically a link to the report. But I wasn't aware, or wasn't sure, but it's in there because of course we can't spill all the beans, talk about all the nitty-gritty specifics for the competitor to copy and paste. But in the end, we had this describe what income sources do we have. We even said how we distribute basically between these different income sources, as these different income sources have different risk factors assigned to them. So basically some riskier stuff with better ROI, but they spent only a little portion of the actual money on that, and vice versa, stabler stuff with a higher amount of the total ROM that they're putting there, but of course it earns a little bit of less interest. And basically how in total Coindepo earns, it uses the money we put in there and just basically generates more money than repairs and interest. We also listed the expenses and more, and it was very interesting. Of course, it's not a stock exchange listed company, so it's not verified information, but at least for the Q3 report, they showed that we actually had a net loss. And I think if you want to fingate numbers or make numbers up, you would not do a negative number. But the negative came from one-offs, so meaning one-time payments we had to do for legal reasons to acquire certain licenses and stuff like that. And their actual income versus the interest they are paying us was positive. So this was a very, very good report and also increased my faith in the project itself. I mean, everybody needs to do their own due diligence, right? This is no financial advice. If you want to invest here, please do your own research. But the Q3 report is a very good starting point to see if you want to go invest here or not. And this Q3 report should be the first in a row of reports. The next one should come, I hope, end of March. I don't know, but be the Q4 report for the end of 2025. Let's see what's in there. And this is basically the ones I will be looking the most into to see how this project is evolving, how we're moving. The last one is probably, how sustainable is the yield? I mean, I already basically told you just now that at least the income we had before the one-offs was higher than the interest we paid. So the yield itself, at least in Q3, was sustainable. And by a lot, I think we made like 2 million plus something. So it's not that bad. Yeah. And in the beginning, I already said that in the Telegram chat it was mentioned that the investors are currently increasing the yield due to achieving more market share, which basically also means it will go down in the future. And it also was expected to go down because it's so much higher than the competitors. And well, basically just last week, I think, they announced to reduce it a bit, but only for stablecoins by 1% and for their own Coindepo token by 2%. And actually, I think this is a very good sign. It's moving into a more healthy yield range without dropping too much. And it also seems that we have reached a point where we say our market share now is big enough that we can do that. I mean, you need to see how this is going. If they in the next 2, 3, 4 years go down, then it may be time to move to a different project. But for now, this is definitely something I would actually have liked to see. And now we are doing it. And this time it was also communicated way ahead of schedule. So we basically last week, and it's like 4 weeks, I think, notice around. And with all the information you needed, this was crystal clear. It was saying 1% stable coins, where I mentioned which coins were affected, basically everything unstable, and gold and silver, as well as the Coindepo token, and what's currently happening with current running interest plans. So for example, if you're currently running the 1-year plan, it's not affected by the reduction. Only the next time you start a new plan or a new account, basically, this one will be affected by the reduced yield. So in summary, for me, it seems sustainable. All right, moving forward, or what has 2026 in stock for us? Or what is my resume? First of all, I have not talked about the probably most annoying feature on Coindepo. It's the holding time. So when I want to withdraw, they have to manually release it, and it's processed, they say like something like 7 p.m. UTC on a working day, and I just hate it. I have borrowed a loan and I had to wait over 24 hours until I could use it because I was doing it on a Saturday and I had not taken this into account, and I also don't understand why it's not made optional. They do it to protect new users from doing errors, which I think they can't, basically, because the argument was, I was discussing it with support. The argument was that they can also verify the wallet address you are withdrawing to and more. But honestly, you can maybe, in case of Bitcoin, for example, see if the format of the address is correct. So it's starting with BC something. But if it's actually your address, they cannot verify, so they cannot prevent errors there. And yeah, I don't know why it's there. There's also some regulatory requirements. I am not sure. I just hate that feature. The other thing that comes off very weird sometimes are certain Telegram users. They seem to be like bots, and they're always hyping. So if the market is going down, it's a perfect opportunity to buy more. If the market is doing nothing, yeah, strong hands are calmly collecting. If the market's going up, they are... I don't know if it's bots, paid users, or just some weird people. Anyway, this leaves a little bit of an aftertaste, and it's a very personal opinion. It just reduces this credibility of that chat and of that group. And honestly, I think it's paid from Coindepo, and it's something why. And it hurts them more that it's bringing. I don't need these messages every day. How's the market? Oh, the market is nothing. Yeah, this is great. Oh, the market's down. Yeah, this is great. Oh, the market's up. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, and they do not react a lot to other people. I don't know. Personally, I would like to see them gone, because I think people go in there, see that, and like, why do we need to do that? Why? This sounds like a bot, or could be some paid people. Why has that company? But why do we need that? It feels off a little bit. I don't know if it's really the case, but it's just my opinion and my feeling about that. Anyway, the plans for 2026 are released. They are looking very solid. So they are trying to get more licenses, better reputation, and as I already said, the new team also said we are going to focus on building up reputation and trust, and focusing on better communications, as well as fixing some technical issues. If you want to know where you can find it, if you go basically to the main page, it's a bit hidden, I think, under company, about us, scroll all the way down, and then you can find the roadmap. And you can see here 2026, they first want the VASP license on Europe, and a bit of a improvement on the governance system. So they're probably planning to do more, or provide more functionality for the Coindepo token, adding new asset supports, increasing the technical stability by introducing a bug bounty program. Later on, MiCA regulations, even more assets, a credit card, and more. So yeah, a lot of things we're planning to do, and it sounds very good. And you can see what we already achieved here in 25, 24. And yeah, that sums up my 6 months of experience with Coindepo. As I already said, I am planning to increase my total holdings there, or at least I like it. Of course, everybody should do their own due diligence. Please check it and research it yourself. It has quite high rates, and I assume it will go down further, but if you are aware that we're aggressively trying to take market share, it makes sense. So we will see how 2026 shapes up. We have interesting plans. Let's see if the transparency reports continue, what the first token burn will be, what else can be done with the token, and maybe other cool things that are happening in the space. Alright, that's it for me. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any questions, leave it in a comment below, and see you in the next one.